Greetings everyone and welcome to a Let's Play Metroid 2 bonus video. Today we're going to try and break the game. But first we're going to try a little bit of sequence breaking. So, if you collected all the energy tanks and you get to the Omega Zone, you actually have enough life to survive this trip through the acid to the Queen's Lair. So, one might think, hey, you could skip the Omegas and go straight to the Queen, right? Well, let's see what happens. That's right. There's a wall of spikes right in your way. The programmers put this in, I guess, as an actual deterrent to sequence breaking. Why they did this, I'll never know. I guess maybe because they didn't want you to beat the game before you were supposed to. So, you get this far, you can't even fight the Queen. Such a disappointment. The only thing to do is to kill oneself. Anyway, this video is going to show off lots and lots of glitches, tricks, things like that we're going to do to break the game. So, let's start with an introduction. Now, they call them the Secret Worlds. Now, they are basically just the community in general, at large. What I'm doing here is traveling along and hitting select like a madman. As you can see, it starts to glitch up the tiles, and eventually, you can open up a hole and travel into the wall. I'm showing this one off first because it's right under the ship, and it's probably the first one anyone could ever get to as soon as you begin the game. This area is incredibly small. It's more like a maze of tiles you don't even know. You have to be really careful about when traveling through these because you'll end up stuck, kind of like this. And once you're stuck, you kind of have to start it over. So, anyway, we're going to be exploring a lot more of the bigger ones. In fact, we're going to be focusing on 3 of the biggest ones. The first one here is in the Zeta Zone. And if you fall along that wall and hit select fast enough, you'll open up this hole. And we're not quite in it yet, actually. We have to jump to the left 2 screens and then fall down, or else we're going to end up stuck in a wall. So, that's 1 screen. Come on, Samus, you can do it. 2 screens. Okay. These are pieces of Chozo statues that you're seeing here. Basically, the Secret Worlds are space within the walls that you can get to, and they're filled with glitched out tiles, and if you travel through them into an area that already exists, you'll end up in something like this. This is actually an area that exists in the game, although these aren't the right tiles for it. These are the Chozo Temple tiles, and that makes sense because we started out in a Chozo Temple. But this is actually part of the Zeta Zone, and you'll see where I'm going in a second. That room that I've just gone through is actually full of spikes in the original game. Now this is usually full of sand pit and has a Zeta Metroid in it, but now it's full of save station points, and the save the game text is all glitched out. So let's see what happens if we reset the game after saving. That's right, you can reload in the glitched out areas. And it actually fixes a few of the tiles, but not everything, of course. As you can see, we're still with the Chozo Temple tile set and Chozo Temple music, and still no room of spikes. You can actually get to this area as soon as you get to the Zeta Zone. You don't actually have to defeat them all like I kind of did here. When you get to the bottom of the area, we're filled with more of the Chozo statue tiles. Let's try going to the left wall and see what happens. Alright, so we've kind of glitched into another area here. And I believe it's... okay, this is the area where we're actually ended up at the top of the Zeta Zone. So, things can wrap around, as you can see. Once you go all the way through the bottom, you end up back at the top. Now, hell if I'm going to try and do this darkened maze again, so let's see what happens when we leave. Well, the music's fixed, and so are the tiles. That's right. When you reload an area, re-enter an area, or whatever it is that you do, the game fixes itself. We don't want any of that, so we're going to refresh again. And nobody likes to see backtracking, especially through glitched out areas. Now I'm showing you this area first because it is the largest of them, but it's also the most boring. Not much here, but, you know, mess up tiles and such. So we're going to go down the bottom this time. And we're going to wrap through the top again, but this time we're going to go to the left. And this is a hallway filled with tubes. Or parts of tubes, anyway. This area is also noted because a lot of the tiles, it's really hard to tell what is solid and what is not. You can, you know, you would think that these brick tiles here are solid, but they are in fact not. As you can see, I can walk right through them. Now, this bottom area that we're in here just kind of actually repeats itself a lot over and over. We've actually seen everything really interesting in this area, which is not saying much because this is the, like I said, largest and one of the most boring. So, we're going to move on to another one. This area you can get to from the Omega Zone. The same method as the Zeta Zone one, you're just glitching down a wall. This one's a little bit more interesting, though. It is filled with dangerous and deadly plants. Of course, because the tile set is the Omega Zone tile set, which is filled with dangerous and deadly plants. You're going to want to go into this one with full life, or else you're probably going to die. Now, you may be wondering why I didn't explore that last one all the way. Seriously, it could take an entire LP to explore all of these areas all the way through. What I'm really doing here is just kind of introducing you to the areas, and if you wanted to on your own, go and explore them because they are a lot of fun. And it's really interesting to see what's behind the walls in Metroid 2. Also, if you can tell, the wave beam is really effective here in this area because it can clear out large areas all at once. But I've been singing the praises of the wave beam the entire time of this LP, and what is that blinking thing? I must get to it. I must see what it is. Don't mind me, I'm just trying to plan a route over there without dying, of course. Could it be a save station? I don't even know. Okay, I just heard the, this beam doesn't hurt it noise. So that means the wave beam doesn't do anything to it. I can't get to it, it's in the tiles there, so whatever it is, I don't know. Okay, missiles, wave beam, nothing. Bombs, nothing. Okay. Well, whatever it is, I can't do anything with it, so we're going to move on. Now don't get too discouraged. This area actually is a little bit more than this. Once we get through this Wall O plant tiles, there's actually something to see here. It's not much. This is actually one of the smaller areas. But I think that graphically, it's one of the more interesting. Alright, now we could go to the left, but I'm not going to. I'm going to go down. And end up stuck in some plants, so... Like I said, you have to be incredibly careful when traveling through these areas because, yeah, you could end up stuck in the wall incredibly easily. And if that's the case, you have to restart the game. Now, if you saved somewhere in the glitched out area, you can actually come back into it like you saw earlier. But this one actually doesn't have any save stations, so if you die or get stuck, you're pretty much done. Unless you want to try and get back in here again. That select glitch is actually kind of hard to do. Wow, okay, so I ended up stuck. So as you can see, there's really no thing that you can do that actually gets you unstuck, so... We're going to move on to the next one, in the Queen's Lair. Now this one is incredibly interesting, more for where you can go, less than what you can do. So, normally we would jump up to the right here and spider ball all around and get the ice beam and all that kind of jazz, like we did in the final video of the actual playthrough, but this time, we're going to go somewhere different. Yeah, so it doesn't actually work every time, but there you go. This one is interesting, because it is quite large. In fact, it's not as large as the first one, but it's pretty large. You can get to a lot of good places here. But I have one place in particular I want to get to. We're in the Queen's Lair, right? What happens if I, you know, glitch into her domain. Will I fight the queen? I don't know. I haven't actually fought her in the game so far this playthrough. More glitched out save text, of course. This room is filled with parts of save stations and other assorted tiles. Now, I was thinking, should I reload on that one? Probably not, because I might end up with my head stuck in that tile, so we're going to reload from this one. Doesn't fix many of the tiles, but it does fix the text, which, I don't know, it's kind of nifty. Alright, so save once again for posterity's sake, because I'm pretty sure I'm going to need it. This one actually has a lot of places where it is incredibly easy to get stuck in the walls. So now, as you can see, we're actually in one of the main areas of the game where you travel from zone to zone. This is one of those places that would normally be filled with acid if you hadn't defeated said Metroids, yada yada. You know that drill. But we're trying to go somewhere special, and I ended up stuck, so we're gonna start over. Yeah. But no one likes to see that, so I'm going to edit out the backtracking. No one likes to see backtracking, even if it's through a glitched out area. And goddammit if I didn't get stuck again. Like I said, this one has a lot of opportunities to get stuck, so we're gonna try this again. You have to be really careful because some of these tiles are not solid and you can fall through them, and when you do that, you end up stuck like that, except that... Whoa, where are we going? Oh, jeez. I apologize to anyone with motion sickness. As you can see, we've kind of wrapped around the area here, and we're back kind of near the top, but... Or is it the bottom? God, we're going all kinds of different ways. I don't even know where we are. Yeah, we're going to reload there because I got stuck. We're trying to find a very special room. And this is on the way. This is a good sign. This is actually one of the parts of the Omega Zone. Although now I kind of glitched myself out of it. Killed an enemy there stuck in the wall, and ended up getting stuck in the wall again myself. So, let's try that again. Okay, this time we're falling into it from above. Those are pieces of Metroid eggs, if you're wondering what those are. They're kind of forming those little towers that you had on your way to each Omega in the Omega Zone. And this room is normally a room where you would fight an Omega Metroid, but we're going to fall through the floor here because I'm going to go below where the Omega actually sits. And then I'm stuck in the wall again. So, let's try that again. We're going to land here. And what's here to the left but... Ooh. A room full of crumbly blocks? Well, this isn't just any room. This room should look familiar to anyone who watched the last video of my LP. This is actually the room where you fight the queen. Now, she's not here. Obviously. We actually haven't triggered the flag that would bring her here. And you actually can't trigger flags while in the secret areas, which is kind of what I wanted to show off in the end. While they're very pretty to look at and fun to explore, you actually can't do anything in them except explore. So, what I'm trying to do here is see if there's a way to get behind the queen, or where the queen would normally sit, and see what happens if I do that. Can I break the game any further? We shall see. I'm not liking the looks of those little tiles. Yeah, I can't go through them. So, unfortunately, we can't try and break through to the end game sequence, but my guess is that even if we could get back there, we wouldn't have the right flag triggered to even have the baby Metroid escape from its egg, or any of that kind of stuff, so... The last thing that we can do is just fall through in the room. Alright, so we've fallen back down to the Ice Beam room, and that's actually where I'm going to leave it for now. Like I said, I'm not going to be exploring the entirety of the areas, because that could take an entire LP of its own. I just wanted to show them off, so you can go explore them for yourselves. And that's going to be it. I want to thank you guys for joining me for this LP. This is MeccaPrime signing out.